melodic heavy metal. Playing it heavier, louder, raunchier, faster. This is the Signals of Intuition.
Brand new Primal Fear right there. That's the title track off their new record released a couple months ago called Rule Breaker. You're listening to the Signals of Intuition, your home for melodic hard rock and heavy metal. Tonight on the show, we've got the guitar player of that band, Mr. Tom Naumann, so let's get him on the line right now.
Hi there, Tom's talking.
Hey Tom, what's going on? It's Brandon from the Signals of Intuition. How you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
Good. How's the tour been so far?
Really good. So we just have small problems with the weather sometimes. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's fucking hot. But we're getting along with that. But play-wise, the tour is doing very, very well.
Oh, good. You guys are, where is it now? You're in Houston?
We're in Houston, yeah. We played Dallas last night and party a little bit, and we just arrived in Houston. And we have like a lot of humidity over here. So, wow. It'll be a hot and exhausting show tonight.
Yeah, it's funny, you think you guys are crisscrossing all over the States at this time of year, and I can't imagine what that's like going from, extremely cold one night. Like I saw you guys in Detroit a couple weeks ago, and that night was really cold, and I figure now being in Houston, it's got to be insanely hot.
We played like Vancouver, and it was okay, like 20 degrees, and then we went down to Santa Cruz, it was also 20 degrees. Then Vegas was like 32 degrees at midnight. Then we played San Diego, which was supposed to be warm, but on that day we had like 18 degrees. And then we went to Mesa, Phoenix, and we had 40 degrees. It was like, wow, amazing. And your body hardly gets used to that kind of weather change. But it's all right, though.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to start at the beginning of you as a musician and then sort of work our way up to the new record. So first things first, where did you grow up and how did you get into music?
I grew up in Stuttgart, Germany, and I got contact with music first by my father, who is also a guitar player, but he just played in like cover band stuff, and he's doing shit from the 70s and 60s. And then I started playing drums, and after drums I took two friends of mine who would like to start a band, and they entered a music store, and one guy bought a guitar and the other guy bought a bass, so they needed another guitar player. So I begged my parents to buy me a guitar on Christmas Eve, and I got that guitar, and then I started practicing really hard to get in that band. And so we started a band, and we grew up, and then I met Matt one day, and a long friendship started, and I joined his band Sinner, and then we co-founded Primal Fear a couple of years later, and yeah, that's how I got started being a musician.
Did you have any formal musical training? Like, was it all kind of your dad who taught you, or did you go out and seek out other teachers and that kind of thing?
My father never taught me anything, but I got a good teacher, and he was really famous in Germany. Probably you heard about Major Tom. It was like a hit from the Neue Deutsche Welle way back in the 90s, I guess. It was like called Major Tom of Peter Schilling. I think it was #1 in America as well. And he was the guitar player by then, and so he taught me a lot of Hendrix stuff and all that Jeff Beck stuff and so. And yeah, I was a good student, I think. So I practiced hard, and then, when you grow up and you start playing in different kinds of bands, you met other guitar players and you learn from them and they learn from you, and so everything grows, and yeah.
And what bands influenced you growing up? Like, from an early age, were you always listening to records and that kind of thing, or did it come sort of later on?
First of all, my first experience with listening to music was when I listened to the Beatles at first. The Beatles was a huge influence by the time. And then when I grew up, I loved Status Quo, I loved Kiss, then it went to AC/DC, and then it went to Judas Priest. And then in 1980, there was this new wave of British heavy metal where all these new bands popped up, like Def Leppard and Saxon and Iron Maiden, so I got influenced by that. And then Ozzy Osbourne did his first solo album and stuff like that, so I got influenced by all that stuff coming from the 1980s. And then as you go older, then your music style changes a little bit, and I listen to this hair metal stuff, Motley Crue, Skid Row, Dokken, Night Ranger was a huge influence for me. I love Brad Gillis as a guitar player. I love Van Halen. So it's like, I love Steve Lukather. So it's from every kind of music, I try to pick the best stuff out for me.
The first thing I'm aware of you being involved with was Sinner. Was Sinner your first band that you joined, or did you play? You mentioned playing with friends earlier.
Yeah, I played with some friends in a band called Freeze Frame, and we did like a competition, and we won that competition. So we got a sort of a, can we call it, demo in a studio, and Matt was the one who recorded and produced it. So that was the first contact I got with Matt. We still kept in touch after the recording, and we did another demo, and he also produced it, and then we had a song on a demo which he liked very much, and he put it on a Sinner album, and then as the guitar players left, he asked me if I would like to join the band.
Oh, okay, so that's all that'll happen.
Simple as that, huh? Sometimes you just need to be in the right spot at the right time, and everything's fine.
Absolutely. I know my own introduction to Sinner, and I think probably my favorite record from you guys was the Judgment Day album. Any memories from making that record? I know like it was at least mixed by Keith Olsen. Did you work with him in the studio, or was it just mixed by him?
It was just mixed by him. Funny part is like Sinner still exists like 1982, I guess, or 1983, and recorded a lot of albums before. And I joined in 1988. I did my first tour in 1988. So Matt released a solo album called Mad Sinner, Back to the Bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my first record I played on together with him. And then we released a couple of albums. But by that time, like the grunge scene came up and nobody really was interested in heavy or rock music anymore. So the sales went down the drain a little bit. Back in 1994, I think, we did a tour together with Deep Purple. We did a support tour for Sabotage. And then after Sabotage tour, we got a little bit influenced by Sabotage, writing more long songs, not only like short 3, 4, 5-minute songs. So we tried to write songs with like 7 minutes length and 8 minutes length, and we put some instrumental parts in it and stuff like that. And I think there was a beginning when Judgment Day was like a turning point writing-wise. And the album got well accepted and got very good reviews, and so we kept writing songs like that.
It's funny for me too, like when I hear that album, it's almost like, to me, a lot of it sounds like Primal Fear without Ralph. Like if you listen to early Sinner, and then if you compare it to Judgment Day, like Judgment Day is sort of like the jumping off point, at least from my perspective, where sort of Primal Fear comes from.
On Judgment Day, the opening track is A Question of Honor.
Used to the Truth, I think it was.
Used to the Truth. But is Question of Honor on that album as well?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up.
Because we recorded an old Fiddler song for the Seven Seals album by Primal.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I've got that record in my car right now, funnily enough.
But to be honest, like, we're writing songs, like Matt is writing songs, and I'm writing songs, Ralph is writing songs, so everybody has his own style of writing songs, and sometimes it's like, okay, it sounds a little bit more like Sinner, or maybe it just sounds like Primal Fear, or it sounds like Sinner with Ralph vocals on it. We don't do that on purpose. It just comes out naturally, and yeah, it's the way like we used to write songs. And sometimes it sounds a little bit similar, but we don't do that on purpose.
Now, how then does Ralph essentially come to join the fold? Like, you look at Sinner, and most of those members are now in Primal Fear. How did Primal Fear come to be?
That was a real fun part because, as you probably might know, Ralph was in the competition of getting the new single of Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm. Actually, okay, tell me before we go to this question. Tell me about that. What happened? Because that's the running story is it was him and Ripper Owens, and what sort of happened with Ralph almost joining the band?
So yeah, it was like the Judas Priest had the chance either they take Ralph Shippers or they take Ripper Owens, and Ralph had a band back in Germany called Just Priest. It's like a Judas Priest super band, and he formed the band just to sing all the songs and get in training and all that stuff, get well prepared to auditions for Judas Priest. So he had this band called Just Priest, and they had a gig, and the guitar player married on that day. So I got asked if I would step in for that show to play some Judas Priest stuff. A couple of days later, the drummer called me again and said, "Oh, the bass player is invited on the marriage of the guitar player. Do I know any bass player? And so I asked Matt. And so Matt, Ralph, and I first show together was in a Judas Priest tribute band. And after that, we sat together having a couple of beers and said, hey, guys, we live in the same town. We love the same kind of music. Why don't we just sit together and write songs together? And that's how Primal Fear started. And by the time when we founded Primal Fear, there was grunge still up, so we don't give a shit about record sales and anything like that. We just wrote songs that we like, and we said, okay, nobody will buy this because heavy metal is totally out of the radar right now, but hey, we love it, let's do it. And so we recorded an album, and the rest is history. The album went into the charts, and now we're traveling the world.
You know, the first album, I mean, I kind of remember it being promoted as, you know, this is Judas Priest, but not Judas Priest kind of thing, you know what I mean? And like you say, it went in the charts. Was there a lot of pressure from the label when it came to doing Jaws of Death, the second record?
No, not at all. The thing is that really buzzes us all the time. We got a lot of very good reviews, and most of them just saying, like, this is the album Judas Priest should have done after Painkiller. And we go like, hey, we don't want to be like Judas Priest clones. All right, Ralph has the same voice, or similar voice like Rob Halford, but it does not mean that we would try to copy Judas Priest or anything like that. If you listen closely, we have a lot of songs that doesn't have anything to do with Judas Priest. So when we released the first album, and we went in the charts on position number, I think, 48 in the German charts, which was a real surprise, we went on tour, and we played a lot of shows, and we played all the huge festivals in Europe. And then we went back into the studio. We had a couple of new songs written, and we just recorded it without any pressure. And it was also a huge success in Germany, and I think the record company was really happy with that.
So after that record, you left the band and did some work with Metallium, Godiva. I'm not sure if you did any other things. What caused you to leave Primal Fear for the first time?
The first time I got private problems. So I have to deal with some serious issues at home, and so it was better to leave the band because it wouldn't have been the best decision for me to stay in for the band. So we decided to part ways and still stay friends. And so they did Nuclear Fire and Black Sun album without me, which was fine with me. I don't have any problem with that. And then I rejoined the band for the Devil's Ground album and the Seven Fields album. But as you know, I didn't stop making music, so I did some performance and guest performances on Metallium albums. I recorded and produced an album from a Swiss band called Godiva, and I played on some other records. I did some solos on the Rob Rock album. I was still busy, and I wasn't out of the business.
Right, just kind of, you just didn't have time to be a part of Primal Fear with all those things going on.
Yeah.
I know for the Seven Seals record, it was mixed by Mike Frazier. Did you work with him, or was this another case like Keith Olsen where you did all the recording in Germany and then he mixed it after the fact?
Yeah. We recorded the album in Germany with Charlie Bauernfeind, who is also known for his work with Blind Guardian and Saxon. And we just recorded it in Germany, and then we flew over to Vancouver and mixed the album in the warehouse studio.
Oh, I see. And actually, well, since we're kind of talking about recording, take me through, how you record. Like, are all your things done at separate studios? Do you guys rent one studio and just spend a month in there and really hammer out an album? Or how does it sort of work for you guys?
That changes because the band exists for 20 years right now, and in the beginning we just sat in the same studio and recorded everything in the same studio. We sat together and we played together, and then the drummer played it again, and then the guitars and blah blah blah, all that stuff. But nowadays we have like Marcus, a guy from Sweden, and he has his own little studio, and so he's recording his stuff at home. And for the latest album, we had Francesco Giovigno on batteria, on drums, and he's from Italy. We recorded the drums in Denmark, and then we have everybody has his own studio at home, so the guitars were all recorded at home, the bass was recorded at home. Ralph has his own vocal studio in his house, so he did the vocals all in there, and then we just dropboxing it to each other, and then we go for the mix by the end when it's all recorded.
Oh, I see. Are you still involved in Sinner, or are you not in the
No. No. I'm just involved in Primal Fear, and that takes a lot of time because now we're on tour since February, I guess. We released the album in January, and then we went on a 4 weeks tour in Europe. After the tour stopped, Alex, Matt, and I, we played in a project called Rock Meets Classic.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about that, by the way. What's going on with that? I watched a video on YouTube of you guys at Wacken, and that was like extremely cool.
Yeah, for me, this year was the first time that I got involved because the regular guitar player, he couldn't do the tour. He was on tour with Fantasia, so I got asked if I would step in. And yeah, it was a phenomenal thing because playing songs from your youth with the original singer or members of your band, which you got influence, is an amazing thing. Like I'm a huge Thin Lizzy fan, and now I have the possibility to play Thin Lizzy tunes together with one original member on stage. It's like a dream come true. I never thought that I would play Carry On My Wayward Son and Steve Walsh standing 2 meters next to me and singing it, or we play Dust in the Wind together. And I was never in my wildest dreams I was thinking about that I would play that tune and Steve Walsh will sing to it. So this is like a real amazing experience. Also, I never played with a huge orchestra before. That was something really new for me and really spectacular. And I'm really looking forward for the next Rock Music Classic tour in 2017. And yeah, that was really amazing.
Who's in the band now? So you got the singer from Kansas. I want to say Dee Snider was a part of the other one. I can't remember now, but who's involved, or do you know who?
2016, we got Steve Walsh from Kansas involved. We got Andy Scott and Pete Lincoln from the Swedes.
Mm-hmm.
We got Scott Gorham and Ricky Warwick from Thin Lizzy.
Oh, cool.
We got Doro. We got Dan McCafferty from Nazareth. We had Mitch Ure from Ultra Fox, and we had Joey Tempest, singer of Europe.
Wow, that's a very impressive lineup.
Yeah, it was really amazing. And so today I just saw on Facebook that Steve Lukather of Toto is confirmed for 2017.
Oh, cool. Oh, I'm a big fan of his. That's going to be amazing.
He's an amazing shredder. And I really hope that I will be part of Rock with Classic in 2017, because he's one of my idols, and hey, this would be like, wow, you're shredding him down. This would be really, really cool. So, back to the other question. Like, Primal Fear is really busy. Now we did the European tour, and then we did this Rock Music Classic, and now I was just at home for 1 week, and now we're on like a 5 weeks leg in North America and Canada. We will play the last show in Toronto, June 1st, and then we're heading directly to Japan, playing 3 shows in Japan, and then we will head to Australia for the first time, playing 2 shows in Sydney and Melbourne. Then we have a 26-hour flight back home to Germany, have 1 off day, and then we play the first festival. And then we have a couple of festivals in Europe, and beginning of September we are going to South America, doing a 3-week tour over there. So as you can see, we are really busy this year, so I will find any time for stuff like that.
Right. Speaking of touring, by the way, take me through life on the road with Primal Fear. What's a typical day like on tour?
Oh, it depends. Sometimes we just hang around because there's nothing around the venue. We just hang around in the bus, sleeping, writing to the ones we love, or reading a book, or watching a movie, or something like that. Yesterday we were in Dallas, so Matt and I, we took the advantage to go to Elm Street and the Daily Plaza to see the place where Kennedy got shot. And tonight we play Houston. There's nothing much around except the sushi bar, so probably we'll go out for dinner on the sushi bar, and we will watch soccer in a couple of hours because there's the European Cup final. And so it really depends on where we are staying right now. Sometimes we have an off day, so we spend the day at the hotel. And if we were probably in New York, so we have a walk around, went to downtown, just doing some sightseeing. And then normally we have soundcheck at 4 o'clock, and then we have meet and greet at 5:30. Then we go off dinner. Then maybe we do some interviews, and then it's already stage time. After stage time, all get back in the truck, and then we're moving on to the next city.
And what do you do to keep yourself healthy and in shape to perform your best each night?
Don't drink too much alcohol and try to eat healthy. I stopped eating at 6 o'clock, so after 6 o'clock eating is like, wow, hell for me. And I really try to drink a lot of water and not too many margaritas or whiskey sour. But when you're on tour, sometimes strange things can occur and you got more margarita than you would like to have. But normally we are really cool in that way. Sometimes we have real parties, wild parties, but there are a lot of days where we just like hang around after the show, have 2 or 3 beers, having a laugh, talking about the show, and then we go into bed.
So you already talked about the upcoming tour and Rock Meets Classic and that kind of thing you've got going on. Do you guys think, are there plans for another Primal Fear record?
Of course, yeah. So I think we will have to do another album for Frontiers Records, and we are already in writing mode. So I wrote a couple of songs with Matt together already, and I think there will be an album coming out 2017, 2018, definitely, and then we will tour the world again.
Fantastic! I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I loved the last one, and I'm looking forward to what you guys put out next. Yeah. So yeah, Tom, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to do this.
You're welcome.
Oh, good. And best of luck tonight in Houston, eh?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you have a good one. Thanks again, Tom.
Thanks. Have a nice day and stay metal. Wow.
You too. All right. Bye-bye.